My name is Anthony Piccione. I go by the name Tony, and my rank was E5 when I got out. On board ship, we had a mess hall, which was just on the deck below the first deck, about midships. And it was just a small little dining hall, and they had pretty good food. You know, I really had, sometimes they would have some things I really couldn't stand, but most of the time they had some really good food. And you know, sometimes they'd have lobster, which was incredible. I didn't really thought they could ever do that. And then sometimes they had these barbecued beef tips, were outstanding. The sleeping quarters were the sleeping quarters. I did a lot of after steering watches too when I was third class, E4, and that was right next to my berthing area where we slept. And it was the sleeping arrangement was there was like 3 cots. There was like there was the lockers on the bottom, and then there was a first cot, and then a middle cot, and a top cot. And then I slept on usually I took the top cot, and every time the guns would fire, all this stuff would come down from the ceiling on you. It was really terrible, you know. But you know, we lived through it. Now when I go on, sometimes we'll get on these reunions, we'll go visit a ship, you know, and I look at that and I thought, how could we ever live in those kind of quarters? They were just so, you know, close. So that was that for the chow and the sleeping arrangements. Oh, the entertainment, when we were in port, we usually had a television, so we could watch, you know, like shows like the Ed Sullivan Show or the news or anything else that was on at that time. And then when we were out at sea, they usually have a movie, and they usually get other movies from other ships. So we'd pull up alongside them when we're like refueling. We'd send refueling lines over. That's another thing I did was as a gunner's mate, we had these guns with a thing with a cord on it, and you'd fire it and it would go over and hit the other ship, and they would grab the line, they'd tie it onto another line, and they'd send the line over, and then they'd send over another one which was a stronger line, and then they would send over supplies, you know, from ship to ship, and then they would also send over mail. They'd send over movies and things like that. So we would get new movies to watch at night, and there would always be like a movie night. You could sit down there, and that usually happened where we ate dinner, you know, the mess hall. They'd set up a screen and they'd show a movie, and it was good. And then one time over in Vietnam, they actually had we pulled into port, and I think it was Da Nang or something like that. It was in Vietnam. They actually had these girls come over and entertain. They were like nurses or something, and they put on a show, and that was cool. I remember that very, very distinctly. I adapted so well to military life. I really didn't miss any. I was an only child, and my mom and dad were always working. They owned a grocery store, and they were always working. So I pretty much on my own a lot. So when I went in the military, I just sort of that was sort of like my home. And I'd come home for leave, and I was almost anxious to get back. You know, I really liked the Navy. I liked it so much that I would re-enlist, but I mean, it was a lot of people hated it, but I didn't mind it a bit. I thought it was and it really did change my life a lot.